Hello Guardians, it is Ebontis here, and in this video I want to talk about machine guns and why I'm thinking next season they have potential to be very, very strong. And the main reason is, in the TWAB on Thursday, which I'm forgetting what day that was, the 21st, they basically told us that machine guns are going to be getting a 40% damage boost against PvE enemies, but only a 20% against bosses. The big thing is, PvE enemies that exclude bosses also includes champions, which is one of the biggest annoyances I think of everybody right now, and that's been a discussion for a lot of people. But the fact that every machine gun except for two, actually every machine gun is getting the 40% buff, all machine guns except for two are getting a buff against bosses by 20%. So there are some very powerful things in the wings, especially when it comes to exotics. There are some really cool ones I'll talk to you guys about in the end, but also some very good ones here. Like Recurrent Impact alone is one that I do want to shout out, but there's a lot of ones that you're going to want to make sure get an arc, get a solar, get a void. Make sure you have options for each of those, because 40% damage is massive. Machine guns do have a lot of bullets, put out some substantial chunky damage, and if you're trying to give the fact that, you know, you can start putting 40% extra damage into champions is major. So, no pun intended. The idea here is look through your vault, look through your arsenal of heavy weapons that you've got between your characters and everything, and make sure you've got some options. Solar, yes, there are exotics, but if you're going for legendary solar weapons, you've got Avalanche, which comes from the Dawning. Pretty hard to come by if you don't have it already. You've got Thermal Erosion, which is from Beyond Light. Depending on if you own that expansion, you may or may not have it, but I don't even love this machine gun. This is not the one I would say go for. Honestly, the one I would say go for, if you have Iron Banner tokens to turn in, first off, make sure you turn them in the next Iron Banner. It is the last Iron Banner that you're going to be able to turn in tokens. I have like 2,000 to turn in. If you've got some tokens, make sure you turn them in. But the other thing to think about is, depending on your solar machine gun situation, you may not get like a god roll per se, but you may want to hold on to at least one, because in the world of legendary shotguns, there's this one, there's the one from Beyond Light, and there's the one from an event that isn't going to happen for another 8 months. So you've got some time to get a solar. If you've got some time until you might get a solar. Archon's Thunder is going to be in Season 17 Iron Banner and Season 18 Iron Banner, but it will be gone after that. Now, likely next season, we're going to have focused engrams, so you should be able to go directly after it pretty quickly if you need to, and if machine guns are amazing, then you might want to. But if you do have tokens, I suggest going after this one. Now, with regards to certain weapons, somebody's going to have to tell me if the Swarm is available from Nightfalls. I'm not sure if that thing got sunset from Nightfalls. I think it actually did. So while I do have an Arc one, you may not be able to get that. 7 Seraph Saw is available. Typically, you're only going to find that one from Xur, from Banshee. It's not going to be a very common one because it's just such an older weapon. A Fine Memorial, that's a 450. Those actually feel pretty good, kind of like Corrective Measure. That one is available on the Moon. So if you do need to farm ones on the Moon, some of the perks have been updated. You've got some decent options there. And then even Corrective Measure from Vault of Glass, that one's going to be pretty good. I don't think you can get Shattered Cipher right now, but if you can get Corrective Measure, personally, that's better. Commemoration from Deepstone Crypt, also a very good machine gun and some very unique perks on that one. Finally, you've got Recurrent Impact. You can craft this one if you have Season of the Risen, and you can craft some very, very good rolls. Because if you go to, sorry, I'm pulling up on a different screen. You can see you get stats for all, which is going to be nice for handling, range, reload speed, and all of that stuff. But also, you can get one for all. Stats for all, and one for all. One for all, if you hit 3 targets, is 35% damage. And it's going to give, and it's, you know, within 3 seconds, it lasts for 10 seconds, and if you enhance it, you can get it up to 11 seconds. So you're already going to have 40% damage bonus against majors and red bars, 20% damage bonus against bosses, and then if you can somehow proc one for all, that's a 35% damage bonus on top next season. Plus, this thing has land tank, so if you do kill 3 little enemies, you've got a damage bonus and you've got damage resistance, and you're just good to go. You've also got something like Subsistence, you've got Firing Line, you've got Headstone, Frenzy. Now, granted, you have Focused Fury, but on a 900 RPM, that could be difficult to activate unless you're just Ultra Beast Mode. You got field prep for some reserves and frenzy. That could be pretty good. Subsistence if you're killing a lot of enemies. The idea here is you can craft a pretty solid machine gun. So this is one I would definitely work on putting some time into, leveling up, because it will pay off next season to have a potent machine gun. The fact that this thing has an origin trait on it as well that helps you defensively. When you're facing champions, you typically want to be able to stay alive. That's a good thing. Now, granted, Stasis is not going to help you too much with the world of shields, which is a frustration of, you know, I don't want to see Stasis shields. We just have too many shields. But again, still very potent machine gun. Also pay attention to what else have you got. Do you need to go farm on the moon? Do you need to go watch Banshee, watch Xur over the next weeks? Even if it's not a god roll, getting an arc roll here might be good. Solar, spend some time in Iron Banner. Comes the Void, you know, you've got Vault of Glass and you've got Commemoration from Deepstone Crypt. Might be time to jump into some raids. But that's not even the exciting part. The exciting part for me is the exotics. Now, your machine guns are going to be as follows. You've got Thunderlord, which I'm going to talk about, is really exciting. Xenophage is one of the two that is not getting the bonus against bosses. Xenophage itself is changing back to a 120. Still going to have very high impact. It's just going to have, you know, the damage adjusted for the rate of fire. But it's just not going to get the 20% damage bonus. It's still going to get the 40% damage bonus against champions. So when you're trying to take those things out, maybe you've got a solar burn on, this thing is going to be an absolute monster. So if you don't have it, now is your time to jump into Pit of Heresy, work on that quest, and knock it out. Heir Apparent. This is getting the bonus to both. 40% against red bars and majors, 20% against bosses, and you know this thing spins up and gives you a shield, which is going to be really good. This is also a solar machine gun. So you've got some solar exotic machine guns, which are definitely going to be worth your time. But if you do want that legendary, remember, Iron Banner's not a bad place to go. So you've got Heir Apparent, you've got Xenophage. Thunderlord. This is getting the full buff on both. 20% against bosses, 40% against red bars and majors. Now, kills with this weapon generate lightning strikes from above. Always very cool, very excellent at ad clear. It's a 450. On top of that, the weapon fires faster and more accurately the longer the trigger is held. Continuous damage, like a boss, for example, generates lightning strikes. And you get that 20% damage bonus with Thunderlord. If you don't have Thunderlord, granted, this is more of an RNG thing at this point. Make sure you're buying your weekly engram from Xur to try and get all the weapons in case you're missing those. Otherwise, there's not really a direct path to go after this one anymore. I think they took that out. But I think Thunderlord has the potential to be an absolute beast next season because you get the damage bonus to both sides. You've got the speed up in rounds, feeding frenzies on it for reload speed. So if you do get those kills, and I think it's just got potential. Don't get me wrong. I think Xenophage against champions is just going to smash them in the face. But Thunderlord for all-time usage, especially if it's an arc burn, this is probably going to be my go-to. But solar burns, both of these have a lot of potential. Now there's one more we've got that I haven't actually talked about yet. Right back here. Grand Overture. This season's exotic. You may have been like, it's okay. Yeah, it got the 20 extra in the reserve, so now you got a total of 60 rounds to fire. The missiles are okay, but this is Arc. Your only other one, Arc, is going to be Thunderlord in the exotic category. Your Arc options right now are not exactly the best. You've either got the one from if Banshee or Xur sells at the 7 Seraph. You've got the one from the Moon, but you may not have the Moon expansion, so you may not have the Lectern as access. If you're playing this season and you have access to this thing, this is getting the 40% damage against champions. And again, if it's an Arc one, this is probably going to hit like a truck. Also, pair this with the fact that you also have a missile launcher that pairs with this thing when you charge it up. And then they're going to be able to make it to where you can shoot 5 at a time, or you can shoot all 20 if you just want to absolutely unload on something. This is getting the 40% damage buff against champions and red bars. It is not getting the 20% against bosses. So you're not going to be able to, melt raid bosses with this thing per se. But for a lot of other functionality, I think this thing's going to have a lot of potential as well. My point is, pay attention to the machine guns that are in the game right now. This is coming from Guardian Games in like a week and a day. So if you don't have Heir Apparent and you've never got it before, now is your time to spend some time in Guardian Games, get this, get the Catalyst, and make sure you have it, because it's a 900, but when it spins up, you've got, while at full health, spinning up this weapon protects you with an Arc Shield, and then the Catalyst makes it even more beastly because increases the Arc Shield's durability and partially reloads the magazine if it is destroyed. So if your shield gets destroyed, you get some ammo back, and it's got 200 in the magazine. You don't have to stop firing. It's ridiculous. So there are some very potent machine guns in the game, and I think they're about to get a lot stronger. And finally, by the way, like this one I've got right here, stats for all, one for all. I've got accurized rounds or appended magazine, and I've got some range and stability. This one alone I want to test out because this thing with major spec and one for all and 40% more, you've got some potential is the point. So if you are sitting on some machine guns in your vault, look through those to see what you've still got. Guardian Games for Heir Apparent, Pit of Heresy for Xenophage, Thunderlord's a bit more RNG, Grand Overture, make sure you level that thing up and finish the Catalyst while you get the Season Pass boost. Do not sit on that thing. And then see if you need to farm any others. So that is my recommendation right now. Machine guns haven't had their day in the sun in a while, and I think finally with this 40% buff, which may get toned down later on, because 40% seems like a lot, but the fact that it's a 40% buff means they have been weak for a while, and I think it's going to be possibly a chance for them to have a lot of fun. So now's your time to farm. If you want to find me, you can find me on Twitter, streaming on Twitch. I might actually be trying to solo Glassway today. I could die a lot, but we're going to see how it goes. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like below. If there's something I didn't shout out, make sure you guys drop a comment below, even if you just want to say hello. Hello back, hopefully. And if you want to find me right here on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button, hit the alert bell. That's a nice way to support the channel and help my videos make it to you. Those of you who are YouTube members or Patreon subscribers, thank you for that extra support. All of you are amazing. I'll see you soon.